What's going on, guys? This your boy John the Liquidator coming back with another video. Look like Stephanie White is turning heads after making some strong comments about Caitlin Clark. Guys, for this one here, we got to go all the way up to Indy. Let's get it. Let's go. Everybody's having a great day today, man. Shout out to everybody that show love to the new channel. If you guys don't know, I launched a new channel today. You can find it in the post section of our channel. With that being said, Stephanie White, man, look like she's planning on going on another media run. I don't know if it's gonna help bring the...
Her career is being purposefully undermined by the devil. How could she suggest that Caitlin Clark still needs to improve? The internet went crazy. A sequence of cruel remarks that many believe to be career-ending set off a digital wildfire. Not only were fans displeased, but many were furious, accusing a well-known person of deliberately undermining the most thrilling occurrence in women's basketball history. The dispute was more than a passing fad. It was a wave of titles that could destroy reputations and change the story of the biggest figure in the sport. This wasn't merely a poor opinion. It was perceived as a direct assault, causing an extraordinary degree of fan rage that doesn't seem to be abating.
Of our channel. With that being said, Stephanie White, man, look like she's planning on going on another media run. I don't know if it's going to help bring the hype back. I feel like Stephanie White is the biggest contributor to killing Caitlin Clark hype. See, what people don't want to admit is that Caitlin Clark was single-handedly the force behind the whole women's basketball genre. If Caitlin Clark died, the whole genre dies. And that is what has been happening. Caitlin Clark hype has diminished. It's starting to come back some. I get y'all that. It's starting to come back some, but it's not where it was, or it's not where it needs to be to hold a steady line going into the start of the season. Now, we do know the 2020...
The person at the center of this storm is none other than Indiana Fever coach Stephanie White, who is currently dealing with a barrage of criticism so severe that it has gone viral. A large section of the fan base, as well as well-known commentators like Jana Liquid, believe that White is solely to blame for ending the Caitlin Clark frenzy. This goes beyond a few misplaced words that it has to do with apparent strategic errors and public remarks that, in the eyes of a furious audience, have gone too far, starting a firestorm that won't go away and could define her legacy in the sport.
Y'all should know how I feel about Stephanie White. I'm not the biggest fan of her. Her taking Caitlin Clark off the ball ultimately, I feel like, damaged her in a way. This is what she said. This is the clip right here that is going viral. I believe the interview was tomorrow. Yeah, it is.
You know, with Caitlin, you know she's a hard worker because of what she's been able to accomplish. But until you see that there's no wasted movements, no wasted reps, no wasted anything, you just have such a level of respect for how she goes about her work every day. And understanding the spotlight that she's on, understanding the weight that she carries because of who she is. And like, she's literally like Taylor Swift 2.0. And that somehow...
In a recent media appearance, White talked about Clark's unquestionable work ethic and said, "Until you see that there's no wasted movements, no wasted reps, no wasted anything, you just have such a level of respect for how she goes about her work every day." This was the initial spark. She praised Clark's ability to focus and compartmentalize under extreme pressure, even comparing her to Taylor Swift 2.0. These remarks appear to be complimentary at first glance, emphasizing commitment. However, in the tense environment around Clark, these seemingly harmless comments were perverted into perceived sabotage by an audience already convinced of a sinister motive.
I talked about this with my wife earlier, and we talked about the whole Caitlin Clark saga, the whole Caitlin Clark mania, you know, of it all. And her question to me was that, do you think Caitlin Clark wanted all of this? And I really had to sit down for a second to think about everything that transpired from her leaving Iowa until now. And my question to her was that I don't know, and I really don't think she did. I don't think Caitlin Clark ever wanted all the attention that she got. I don't think Caitlin Clark ever wanted people making videos about her. I don't think her family wanted any of the madness that came with all of this publicity. I truly think Caitlin Clark...
However, White's remarks were seen by many, especially vocal content producers like Jana Liquid, as a symptom of a bigger issue. Liquid is adamant that White's coaching choices, particularly taking Caitlin Clark off the ball, have been harmful, directly contributing to the player's difficulties and, consequently, The perceived drop in the excitement surrounding women's basketball. He's not holding back when he says that White's approach has deliberately damaged Clark's innate ability by suppressing her influence and chilling the explosive fervor she generated, fostering an atmosphere in which even compliments are met with distrust and animosity.
Like Stephanie White, like Caitlin Clark got to realize she's the talent. You run the show. Most of the time, the highest paid player on a basketball team is not the coach. It's the superstar player. Caitlin Clark is going to be that for the Indiana Fever as long as she's there. Once this whole rookie thing and the CBA thing get done. And my thing is, for Stephanie White, got to look at herself in the mirror to know that you kind of, bruh, pissed the people off with this whole Caitlin Clark thing. She definitely did.
Liquid makes a stunningly straightforward case against White. The main person responsible for extinguishing Caitlin Clark's hype is Stephanie White. This isn't a subtle criticism. This audacious charge casts White as the adversary in the story of the biggest star in women's basketball. For Liquid, Clark was the one-of-a-kind powerhouse of women's basketball, and her coach's decisions are directly responsible for her decreased efficacy or visibility. White is directly in the crosshairs of this high-stakes accusation, which carries the burden of a whole sport's perceived momentum.
In the mirror to know that you kinda, bruh, pissed the people off with this whole Caitlin Clark thing. She definitely did. I don't think Stephanie White was helpful to Caitlin. Now, granted, she's a decent coach, good enough to, you know what I'm saying, get this thing where it needed to be, get over the hump? Yes, she was. But do I believe she helped Caitlin Clark? No, she did not help Caitlin Clark. She hurt Caitlin Clark in a major way. I believe Stephanie White single-handedly hurt the Caitlin Clark genre. And not only did she hurt the Caitlin Clark genre, she hurt.
The controversial choice to remove Clark from the ball sparked a lot of backlash. Both fans and commentators questioned why the athlete, who is known for her long-range shooting and visionary passing, would be placed away from her natural role as a playmaker. Liquid makes it clear that she removed Caitlin Clark from the ball. In the end, I think Diamaine is somewhat like her. This particular tactical decision sparked a heated controversy since many felt it hindered Clark's special offensive powers and kept her from having a significant impact on the game, worsening an already delicate situation by reducing the general enthusiasm she brought to the league and its growing fan base.
Help Caitlin Clark? No, she did not help Caitlin Clark. She hurt Caitlin Clark in a major way. I believe Stephanie White single-handedly hurt the Caitlin Clark genre. And not only did she hurt the Caitlin Clark genre, she hurt women's basketball genre in a whole and not even know what she did. I'm telling you guys, man, I've been paying attention. I will keep saying this over and over and over again until you guys, as the audience, pay attention to what is happening around us. This is somebody that has been doing YouTube for 4 years, bro. I have reached 80 million views without ever buying a view, without ever buying a subscriber, with just pure talent. I've never seen what's happening with women's basketball.
Liquid adds another level of complexity to this story by speculating that Caitlin Clark herself never really wanted the intense attention that surrounded her. I don't think Caitlin Clark ever wanted all the attention that she got, he says. I genuinely believe that she was just a girl from a little town who wanted to play basketball and enjoyed the game. This viewpoint portrays Clark as a pure athlete thrust into an unprecedented media circus rather than a fame seeker, making her and Liquid's perspective potentially vulnerable to the ensuing external pressures and strategic errors, which heightened the criticism directed at White's management.
Her shot by making her work on it. She injured herself by working last year. Stephanie White is the devil and is intentionally sabotaging her. Did you know she had a bad record at Vanderbilt? Outrage. I am doing this right now. Somebody said, think you're lacking just a bit. The outrage need more caps to really set the tone. Actually fair. One reply says, I do appreciate the laugh though. If you play the video back where she actually says she hates Caitlin Clark and wants her to die. Oh, are you secretly Venom? And
Liquid raises a crucial query while accepting Clark's substantial financial rewards from the unexpected surge in popularity. Did she let different pressures in the sport manipulate her? He argues, "Do I get the impression that Caitlin Clark let people to kind of run her around, say anything they wanted, take her off the ball, put this muscle on, and do this, do that? Do I think that made a big difference? That most certainly did." This suggests that Clark has lost agency and that other factors, such as coaching choices, may have diminished her actual potential. This furthers her anger at those who are thought to be misguiding her. A large portion of the fan base believes that Stephanie White's treatment of Caitlin Clark intentionally infuriated the public. Liquid makes a strong case for this, saying, "You kind of, pissed the people off with this whole Caitlin Clark thing." She most certainly did. Stephanie White wasn't helpful to Caitlin, in my opinion. This straightforward charge portrays White not only as a strategist with opposing opinions, but also as someone whose actions directly alienated the very audience that was fueling the sport's resurgence, causing a wedge between the team's leadership and an ardent, a recently active fan base. Liquid claims that the repercussions goes well beyond a single person. He contends that Stephanie White's choices have seriously harmed not only Caitlin Clark, but also the Caitlin Clark genre and, more broadly, the women's basketball genre as a whole. This startling assertion implies that White's alleged mismanagement of the sport's most valuable asset has harmed the women's basketball ecosystem as a whole, possibly wasting a generation's chance for development and widespread acceptance. A very harsh judgment with significant ramifications for the league's future course. The backlash exploded rapidly, with criticism reaching its peak as fans launched direct attacks on Stephanie White's character and motives. A viral comment calling her the devil who is intentionally sabotaging Caitlin Clark captured the raw anger driving the debate, revealing how deeply invested supporters are in Clark's rise and how quickly they attribute any setback to deliberate wrongdoing. The situation intensified further when White's suggestion that Clark still had areas to improve was taken as a personal insult, sparking defensive reactions from fans who view her as a once-in-a-generation talent beyond critique. Critics then resurfaced White's past coaching record at Vanderbilt as additional ammunition, attempting to discredit her qualifications entirely. Together, these reactions illustrate the extent of the outrage, the emotional volatility surrounding Clark's success, and the growing narrative that White is undermining her superstar. The growing belief that White was unfit to guide the league's most celebrated star only intensified the outcry, fueling louder demands for her accountability. The backlash became so heated that it produced wildly exaggerated, almost absurd reactions. One fan even joked, or perhaps half-seriously suggested, "If you play the video back, does she actually say she hates Caitlin Clark and wants her to die? Oh, are you secretly Venom?" While obviously not meant literally, this hyperbolic comment exposes the overwhelming negativity aimed at White and shows how emotional and extreme the public response had become. It paints a vivid picture of a fan base grappling with intense feelings, often expressing their frustration through dramatic, viral-ready remarks that cemented the narrative of fierce hostility. Meanwhile, Liquid proudly asserts he predicted all of this long ago, confidently proclaiming, "I told y'all last year Stephanie White was up to no good." He presents himself as a foresight voice, someone who anticipated potential fallout well before mainstream outlets recognized it. By portraying himself as having predicted this controversy, he reinforces the legitimacy of his pointed criticism, implying that White's alleged harmful influence on Clark wasn't sudden, but part of a foreseeable pattern he had already identified, intensifying the perception of deliberate impact. Amid this wave of scrutiny, reports indicate Stephanie White is preparing another series of media appearances, moves that could either heighten or ease existing tensions. Will she confront the allegations head-on, or will her visibility unintentionally spark additional debate? The scheduling of this media initiative at the peak of fan outrage raises questions about its strategy and potential consequences. To many observers, this is far from a routine press engagement. It represents a calculated effort with major implications for her reputation and the evolving story surrounding Caitlin Clark. Every comment she makes is being closely examined, giving each statement heightened significance. The controversy also extends into the financial framework of the WNBA. Liquid explicitly connects White's perceived interference with Clark's career trajectory to the ongoing CBA discussions, asserting, if Stephanie White hadn't stifled Caitlin Clark's rise, the league might have secured more revenue. This perspective places substantial economic stakes on White's actions, suggesting that her coaching choices and public remarks could directly affect player earnings. In this way, what begins as a critique of leadership transforms into a high-stakes financial matter, influencing the collective prospects and economic well-being of every athlete in the league.